Players value a lot of things when playing a video game. It could be the impressive graphics of the newest AAA title, the story of this brand new game that everyone is talking about, but for me, the core value in the game and where I derive the most fun is the movement. Any game I touch that has core gameplay mechanics I have to mess around with said mechanics over and over until I master it. Movement is the mechanic I do this the most with. I always found joy in trying to rocket jump in Team Fortress 2, bee hopping in Counter-Strike, or trying to learn combo lines in Tony Hawk's Underground. I would even spend hours upon hours on the first few levels of platformers just because I wanted to perfect what the game showed me and make this level be my stomping grounds. I blame watching speedrunners when I was younger because it absolutely broke my perspective on how movement can be done and perfected. Players refer to this as schmovement, and to be honest, games that have a proper skill floor and ceiling with movement mechanics, whether intentional or not, are pretty cool. Shooters are by far one of the most popular genres to add movement into, specifically the first-person shooters that decide to implement more parkour elements into their games. One such title, which is not a shooter but is still in the first person, is called Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge is a game about running, parkour, and a marginally important story thread that ties everything together. I'll be blunt, I never finished the game, but recently caught myself replaying this game simply due to a Fortnite map having a very fun parkour level with a new first-person mode tools that were added to creative maps. But when I tell you, playing the game for the very first time just hit different for me. Running, jumping, and grabbing onto ledges, sliding to a great soundtrack with a lot of momentum carrying as you proceed through each level. The color palette focuses heavily on contrasting a white background with primary colors to make each area more visible to the player, unless you're me and miss really simple jumps. Bro, you can't even speedrun that? Odyssey. I thought I would land on it, okay. I enjoyed running at high speeds from bullets, sliding around like I'm in the Matrix, and letting the thrill of being a runner course through my veins. The later levels get wild too, with much more wall running that, when stacked with good momentum and timing of jumps, makes the game feel extremely fluid in motion. There's something so breathtaking and enthralling about seeing the city below you and being on the run over rooftops and empty buildings. It's all a playground for the player, and one that's very wonderful to be in, except when getting shot at. Yeah, this game's movement was bound to be talked about in some video essay at some point. Ultrakill is a mix of Devil May Cry and Doom with more speed and momentum than you know what to do with. I have spent only 10 hours playing this masterpiece and have fallen in love over the gunplay and how fast my movement feels. The music only amplifies this urge to use blood as fuel and to rip and tear until it is done. It feels as if this game has an endless supply of movement tech, so let me just look this. We got jumping, bunny hopping, enemy step, wall cling, wall jump, air control, dashing, dash jump, dash extension, slide, slide jump, dash sliding, slash dash storage. crouch state, ground slam, shockwave, slam bounce, slam slide, special movement, skim, super skim, climb step, dive, wall slide, wall kick, rocket jump, rocket surf, chain surf, rocket ladder, rocket slam, jackhammer jump, jackhammer boost, damage boost, overpump boost, projectile boost, core boost, malicious boost, mind boost, enemy boost, whiplash boost, advanced techniques, slam storage, whiplash slam storage, land skim, super slide jump, free dash jump, jam blast, rocket land boost, rocket whip pull, puddle jump, puddle dash / puddle dash sliding, puddle dash jump, ultra boost, malicious ejection, free slide, free skimming, scope slide, ultra dive / stored slam dive, vertical wall jump, smooth getaway, ultra smooth getaway, and stored shockwave boost. This game has so much movement. So as you can see, this game has a lot of core options that just stand out and makes this game and each subsequent run of the same level much different from the last. I remember fighting the game's first boss and struggling to understand how to get any rank higher than B at the time. Then, as I learned how to store momentum with sliding and dashing, I was able to just breeze through the initial puzzle to get to them and beat the fight with well-timed dashes, a railgun, and some coins. Getting the dopamine rush of a P rank as I cracked the code on each level and improved my movement with the game, even at my low skill level, felt insanely satisfying. Ultrakill would be good on its own with all of this, but the motivation to vary up movement and gunplay is the score system. Again, much like Devil May Cry, this game uses a similar score system where the more varied your attacks are, the more points you receive compared to using the same weapons over and over. It's just a really fun system that lets you try out different weapons, different forms of movement, and just different ways to play this game. And it lets these really daunting mechanics seem really enjoyable when you kind of do it piecemeal and learn it one by one. I don't know, man. I really love Ultrakill. Platformers are absolutely insane with some movement options a lot have to offer. I can think of a handful off the top of my head right now, but the ones that stand out the most in my eyes are games like Mario Odyssey. Out of all of the Mario games that were out there and known for their movement, the one that stood out to me has always been Odyssey. We already have very great core movement options at the ready from prior 3D Mario adventures, but now in Odyssey we have Cappy, a sentient cap who Mario throws like a boomerang and can bounce off of. This only leads to Mario's core moveset being flipped on its head, allowing for more creative ways to traverse the worlds, whether intended or not. So much of my playtime in this game was spent trying to do tricks found in speedruns of this game. Not because I wanted to run this game at all, it's because the tricks themselves look so damn cool. For instance, look at this way to get to New Donk City early. I remember when they added the coolest little update called Luigi's Balloon World. This is a simple mode where you get a balloon and hide it anywhere. So what if you took the time to learn some mechanics and some of the more speedrun tech movement and place a balloon in a weird location? Well, you get a very strong addiction to me trying to get balloons for Luigi several hours in 2018. It's funny because this felt like a direct response from Nintendo, seeing how players found creative approaches to the game. Some will always point to Mario 64 feeling like 10 million butterflies kissing your hands while you play this game because the core movement is just that good. Yes, it is, but also this is just, well, at least for me, way more enjoyable. And trust me, I love all the 3D Mario games. So with Mario out the way, it seems the only logical game to do next is, well, Shadow the Hedgehog. I mean, the one with the questionable title with it? Yeah, that one. Sonic X Shadow Generations, god that feels weird to say, released in October of 2024, and while yes, being a game from 2011 that didn't need a remaster, especially for PC players, it added a new entire game called Shadow Generations that gave Shadow the Hedgehog his own story, levels, and fan service to boot. As a longtime Sonic fan and avid Shadow the Hedgehog apologist, I was already set to give this game high praise. But let me tell you, when I first booted this game up and played it, the utter euphoria I felt was immense. It was so damn good. I played Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Generations before the release of this game, and even though those games were still some of the best of the entire series, bar none, my expectations were exceeded playing Shadow Generations. The movement ability to use chaos control to stop time on certain sections, how the levels flow and have really creative alternate routes to tech like spear gliding that only enhance the game's replay value. There's just something so thrilling about playing a level and going, hey, I got an okay time, then beating the game and going all the way back a couple days later to replay the same level from before. Boom! New personal best by a mile. The learning curve in Sonic games has always kept me going, always kept me from wanting to perfect my times and learn more about the core movement this game, I would argue, perfected. Going back to Sonic Generations after this has felt fun, but like something was missing. I'm also extremely biased to Shadow, so maybe that's it. Every time I check on new runs of levels I beat on release, I am floored with how people can optimize their runs even further than what I would deem perfect or close enough to perfect. It's just speedrunning, yes, but for this game, it's different. One genre that, to be quite honest, makes the most sense with movement in games, well, I would call them sports games, but honestly, that barely explains the games in question, though. Ah, that's much better. Descenders is a game I didn't quite know I needed from the get-go. It's a game where you ride a bike down procedurally generated tracks to great drum and bass music. The plus? It's a roguelike. Everything on its own is enough, but the actual core movement, or in this genre's case, the gameplay itself, is genuinely top-notch. Stages allow multiple ways to get through them, from descending down the steepest of hills, hoping to not hit a rock or three on the way, doing stunts at full speed, hoping to get a clean landing and not break every bone in your body in the process, and all of this to just survive past stage 2. Descenders is fast, addicting, and downright one of the most endlessly replayable experiences you can boot up at a moment's notice for a little bit to see if you can just get a good start or a good run. On top of this, the game has freaking multiplayer, and it is so much fun hopping on with friends to see who can carry the torch and, maybe finish the game. There's so much hype and calls when playing, so much anxiety of almost missing a jump and nearly saving yourself at breakneck speed. It's just absolutely worth trying out. There were points when playing where it felt like I was playing a QWOP styled game while doing my tricks, which are done with the analog sticks. Actually, the game is entirely controlled with them outside of the triggers for acceleration and deceleration, which makes precise movements much more tedious, but all the more rewarding to master. Oh, did I mention this game has drum and bass? Because it has drum and bass, and the music's really, really good, like really, really good. It's phenomenal. Good soup. So, what you just saw right there was Jet Set Radio 3. I mean Bombrush Cyberfunk. The quickest way to sum this game up, if you weren't in the know, it's a Jet Set Radio successor. So I was kind of right. through and through with both its style and gameplay ideas, though with a lot of modern changes and things from other games like Tony Hawk are present here. Truth be told, I remember running home like a child when this game came out, bouncing up and down, waiting for it to install, and then spending an entire month playing the game almost non-stop. Bombrush is pretty fast, with so many aspects of the core game slowing it down. But for me, I wanted to go faster, have more momentum, and be able to still find a new way to enjoy this lovely game. With a bit of tinkering with the game files and downloading a man called R2Mod, we have one of my favorite movement systems in a video game. Introducing Movement Plus. The game says you want to move fast? We will move fast. Essentially, this game gets more mechanics that allow momentum and speed to be stored when originally the game would never let you do so. Is it janky and weird to get used to at first? Yes. But is it extremely enjoyable and fun? Absolutely. There are so many creative and expressive ways to traverse the levels already made in BRC. But what if we take a trip down to the map station? Here lies custom maps made by the community, varying from Tony Hawk stages to Sonic levels and anything in between. The Movement Plus mod combined with these much bigger and open maps feel like a genuine match made in heaven. When you see gameplay of this game online, it's usually using this mod because it truthfully becomes a different but better game all for it. I genuinely love expressive movement in games, simple as that, full stop, period. It doesn't matter how pretty your game is, how many players it has, none of that. If I can express myself with the core movement systems, or it just feels good to play, I'm set. Growing up, these weren't aspects of games I was seeking, but as my gaming tastes refined and grew, so did the desire to schmoove. And any game I touched, anything to help me move a bit faster or creative was still enough. So yes, I am that player in your local Smash tourney dash dancing more than playing the actual game. Lots of games that weren't mentioned are still just as good. Heck, even some of them are childhood classics like SSX Tricky. But these games in particular really allowed for such a unique form of player expression that I hope stays alive in future releases. Needless to say, movement in games is important and it's powerful. Just please don't make me speedrun anything I've mentioned here, because my little hands can't handle it. Oh yeah, I beat Xenoblade. Has nothing to do with the video, but I beat it. Stay hydrated. Goodbye.